Happened to just inside the top 10. Did the 92 of Ross Chastain get in the back of Parker Kligerman in the 58?
It appears that's the deal. Parker Kligerman, Phil, had driven up to the outside coming off turn 4 to lead that group that Ross Chastain was in the front of, and it looked like Ross got a little overzealous into one and hit Kligerman. Maybe we can get a better look at it. Hopefully everybody's okay.
Watch that white truck on the outside. You can see right now the 92 is against the tailgate.
Yep.
I think maybe did the 58 have to go up the track a little bit, maybe change directions a little bit to avoid the 35, and when he did that, it just got him loose. Look at the job that Jeb Burton does.
Jeb Burton does an amazing job of getting through this.
As does Caleb Holman. Look at he's right in the middle of the wreck.
That's that blue and white car, or truck, excuse me, number 75.
Another look. The 58 gets a little help from behind, turns inside and into that 35.
Yeah, wow. Hard hit for Mason Mingus.
He's a tough young man, and I know it's he's needing to be tough right now. That was a huge crash.
Look at the damage to that Mad Vapes truck, that Toyota. Tyler Young comes along, gets caught up.
And Jock. Oh. Just all sorts of contact. The one of Jason Leffler and the two of Clint Boyer.
Yeah.
And he pretty much was a ping pong ball right between the two of them.
Yeah.
Let's obviously take the blame away from Terry Cook. He was not involved in this. See, there's a contact right there with Jason Leffler. Now Clint Boyer drives up on the inside. Then Jock gets sideways, and when Clint Boyer makes the contact, it turns him straight into the inside wall.
Yeah, Jock's trying to catch that. He's trying to turn back to the right, but with the truck on his inside, there's nothing he can do. The back end keeps going around on him.
And you can see Leffler, he got it all started.
Look at the 22 truck right there. Gets loose on the inside, Phil. Slides sideways and makes contact with Ruderman, sending him nowhere but to the outside wall.
Yeah, Chad, as Rick mentioned, the safety paraphernalia, the head and neck restraints these drivers have. There's another view of it. Watch, he pulls up on the inside, gets loose on the bottom of the racetrack. We've seen it happen so many times. He takes the front end of David Ruderman's truck. They both make hard contact with the safer walls. That's what's critical is that all these racetracks now are installing safer barriers. That's where they hit. That would help. All the head and neck restraint systems help. The headrests in the trucks help. I tell you, I would have hated to see what would have happened 5 years ago with impacts like these drivers take. Watch this real time there. See him, watch him turn dead right, 45-degree angle, and made hard contact with the outside wall.
And that is, no kidding, that's contacted probably 140 miles an hour into a concrete wall.
I was just going to say, Chad, you can't get a true feeling of how fast these vehicles are going around this track until you see something like this happen. This happened.
You see him wiggle a little bit, and Bobby Jr. laid off it from some reason. I don't know if he backed off or maybe he spun the tires, but Bobby Sr., wow, hard contact from David Ruderman. Remember, David had that hard crash at Atlanta a few weeks ago. But so great that the safety devices that NASCAR has implemented does so much for these drivers.
Ruderman got out of his truck and into the ambulance on his own power. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Bobby Jr. missed a shift.
Looks like he missed a shift, and Bobby Sr. had no way to avoid that. But what hard contact again. That's a second hard hit for David Ruderman. You see him sideways, right up against the wall. Had the 59 of Terry Cook on the inside. He got sideways, maybe got a little bit up in the loose stuff, and there's the hard contact. Man. See a spring falling out of the rear of that truck with a coil spring rubber tie wrap to it.
He was wanting to get that spring rubber out of there because
he was sure enough loose.
He was way loose.
There he is, the yellow truck right in the center. Seemed to be some contact, yes. And now the 46 of Rob Morgan gets into the car, and you're right, nosed head on in the wall. Now as he comes down, Lance Norrick is going to come along and make contact with the left side, and then Norrick is going in the wall. So both these trucks eliminated from competition, I would think.
Get another view of it there, and look at that, BP. That is, look, he lifts off the back wheels of the Detroit Locker truck, and man. And there's Norrick. So for Tom from Orange, Massachusetts, he's 34 years old. He had qualified 20.
Lapped in a hurry.
There's another view right there. See Ben Stancil just gets a little bit loose up off of turn number 2. he had the 41 truck of Mark Mitchell behind him make some pretty hard contact with the inside wall.
Man, that's a helpless feeling when that thing jumps out from underneath you like that. Ben, the other truck I think was a factor, Phil. Look how close he is. Just sucks that truck right around. And look at that.
Wow. I think the officials are going to have to take a look at that inside wall. It looked like it really, I think that's obviously a terrific, that it's a safer barrier there.
I think he might have hit just past the safer barrier, Phil. He might have got right into the concrete.
You see that ball move on the backside. And again, we saw the
Dean Thompson loose into the outside wall. You see there's 10 or 12 trucks heading that way. And the caution comes out immediately. But look he's hidden behind a cloud of smoke. Yeah. You can't see where you're going on the racetrack.
And now there's a lot of smoke. Looks like Matt Mills is the first one that gets there. Looks like Trey Hutchins turned right to try to avoid the 5. See if we can get another view of it. There he is in the outside wall. He bounced off the wall and anchored him pretty hard as well.
And you got to make a decision. Is he going to go low or is he going to go high? And everybody ahead of Mills went low, and he elected to do that as well, but the hole closed up.
And when Matt hit him, it pushed him to the outside. That's why Trey Hutchins, the 14, wasn't able to get by.
Look at this mess.
You see 2 trucks go right through the grass, kick up all the grass right there.
What a hit. Ankrum has a lot of damage, too. We saw him hit the outside wall coming off 4. They also hit the wall just past the start-finish line. There's Ankrum hitting the wall again.
Wow, you can hear it.
And Matt had slowed down a lot, too. But watch this. Now, watch the black truck at the very end. This is the lead lap draft right here. Right there. That's Brett Raymer. Keep an eye on him at the very back of that pack. Keep going. Watch that truck come off the corner. This is the previous lap. See, it gets sideways, Mikey.
Oh,
he does a nice job saving it.
And it looks like the crash is just a replay of that.
Yeah.
Only a little bit worse.
Now let's see what happens now. Look, he's going to be right up your screen. Ooh, hard contact. And there wasn't another truck anywhere near him. It looks like something may have broken on his truck or something to sit in the wall like that. Or maybe did he get loose and maybe overcorrected?
Yeah, it looked like if what happened the lap before happened again, he might not have been as fortunate with his save. Now watch this thing pound the wall one more time.
Again, as you mentioned, no safer barriers, but the good news is...
Watch this now, Mikey. Watch this. You see, he got loose right on the bottom and then overcorrected, shot right across the racetrack into the outside wall.
I mentioned good news. Brett Raymer is climbing out of that truck.
See him right there going straight back into the outside wall. Already stunned.
Because he had a concussion.
See, John West was going to try to pull down to the inside of the 33 of Brandon Jones. Then the 19 of Tyler Reck had a bit of a run, so he pulled down to try to get underneath John West Townley. They made contact that knocked John West up into Brandon Jones.
Yeah, I think John just thought he'd give a block here to the 19, but Reddick was in there far enough to where there wasn't anything Tyler Reddick could do. John West pulled over really late, and you could see Reddick was on the brakes, but the damage was already getting ready to happen.
Things happen so fast here. There's a little bit of contact up in front of them, but nothing like what happened to the 05 of John West Townley and the 33 of Brandon Jones.
Did you see Jones's truck come off the ground when he hit the wall? The truck weighs.
Well, he was on the outside of Jimmy Hensley going. It looks like the left front wheel is definitely locked.
He's got the brakes on there, trying to slow the truck down. He got in the loose stuff on the outside there. There's a tremendous amount of dirt and rubber buildup on the high side of the racetrack. He locked the brakes down, trying to slow the truck down. Of course, when he did that, he lost the steering totally.
Another look.
See it go straight, though. Mike, that looked like something might have broke on the truck because he was trying to turn it and nothing happened.
Look how far back that left front wheel is in the wheel well. Well, it was pointed fairly straight at that time. We can only speculate, but certainly the left front brake did lock.
And how Mike Wallace in the 2 truck got through there, I'll never know. Now, he's on the outside there. There was no contact between he and Jimmy Hensley. He just goes straight up, makes hard contact into the wall there.
And then as the force of hitting the wall sort of brings the truck back down across the track,
See, Steve's on the inside. They're right inside of 10 feet. Oh. They make just a little bit of contact there, and it spins him around. Unfortunately, he's not able to stop the truck before he moves back up the racetrack. Then, as you mentioned, a hard hit from the 16 of Mike Bliss.
Looks like they're going to stop the race, guys.
A lot of you see all the debris flying around the racetrack. There's another view. Look on the inside. Blue and white truck number 67, Steve. Just got a bit of a tap, just enough to turn his front end left towards the inside wall, and hard contact.
And he had to know that was going to hurt, Phil. He slid for a long way, knowing that nothing good was going to come of it. You can see him getting on the inside of Fedewa, and Fedewa just adjusting his line just enough to mess Steve up. I mean, Tim he didn't even know Steve was there. He made a small adjustment in his line. Steve had to react to that. Boom. Gets into the side of him and wrecks.
Yeah, it wasn't a situation. Here comes the impact. You can watch slow motion.
God.
Wow, look at the 16 truck buckle. Look at the damage to the left front corner of that 67 truck of Steve's.
Violent. Thank the Lord for the safer barriers.
Pretty hard hit by the 07 of Eric Norris. Obviously, the 16 of Mike Bliss, the 07 of Eric Norris, had absolutely nowhere to go. Steve Park came along and slid back up the racetrack right in front of them. Steve had no control at that point either.
Well, let's see what route.
Tina Gordon gets sideways exiting the corner. Does a nice job of not spinning out, but just can't ever control the truck, Phil.
Never can catch up to it. Now she's got the brakes locked up to try to stop that truck, but she stops in the middle of the racetrack. There comes Rick Crawford right behind Dennis Setzer in the 46 truck. Could not see her, never saw her. Clipped her, turned her in front of Hank Parker Jr., who made severe contact on the inside, and it kind of slid down to the inside wall.
And Hank would have missed her had Rick not hit her, but Rick hit her, bounced her over in front of Hank, and then Hank just took a terrible shot and hit on right into the left front corner of Tina's truck. You can see it there. Ooh.
Whoa, and you could hear it too.
See, Rick couldn't see. Rick was right behind another truck. He peeked out behind the other truck to see what was going on. Boom, there's that Tina.
That's Dennis Setzer, the black truck. He gets by, and then Rick comes along. He was just peeking out to take a look and made some hard contact. And that turned her towards the inside of the racetrack where Hank Jr. was, and he made some hard contact.
Nice.
Also in the top 5 as we look back at what happened.
Whoa, Nemechek got loose there for some reason.
Maybe he got a push from the 84. Chris Fontaine was right behind him. Maybe Chris got into the back of Nemechek, and that turned him sideways into Ben Kennedy. It didn't look like it was a situation where Nemechek was trying to get in line. Looks like he just got loose. Look again. See how he weaved down to the inside there? With Chris Fontaine, that yellow and blue truck right behind him.
Yeah, and your truck isn't going to get loose just running through the tri-oval here. These things have a lot of downforce on them. It's stuck good there. So the way that looked, it's something made Nemechek's truck turn to the inside, and unfortunately for Ben Kennedy, there he was.
Boy, it sure has a look like maybe Chris Fontaine got into the back of that 8 truck of Nemechek, and unfortunately Ben Kennedy sure paid the price.
Paid it twice.
Yeah, that second hit was hard too. Between 2 trucks, and he does get sideways and then overcorrects it. Man, did that truck hit the wall hard.
You talked about it. You're going 160, 170 miles an hour when you get into the turn.
Yeah, but you know,
and that's a hard right turn.
You just don't see wrecks that hard very often. I mean, that truck clobbered the outside wall, and he shot up there at just such an extreme angle, Bill.
Almost perpendicular to the outside wall.
Head on.
He was running in the 14th spot. This is the 3rd DNF.
Look at all this debris.
Who was that cut a tire maybe? You see the black marks going into the outside wall? One of the trucks got into the wall when he ran over some of that debris.
Here's Todd. He's right behind. You see Ricky get sideways and then overcorrects. Yeah, no contact from any other vehicle.
It's just loose.
And look at all the debris, as you mentioned.
Who's this white truck coming in here in a minute?
17 of Timothy Peters.
46 of Craig Gose also. That's the radiator.
You could see Nelson just loses the front of his truck a little bit coming up off, or no, that's not the case.
No.
Wow. Todd looked like maybe pulled over a little bit.
That's what it looked like. That's a tough view. I mean, we're looking at it from the side, so you can't really tell what line. Here will be a better shot.
View here. Let's see what happens. Wow. Looked like maybe Todd was going to pull down to draft off of Busher.
Yeah, he was just going to get a little bit of a sniff of air off Busher, and PK held his line.
Right along with Timothy Peters.
Maybe Nelson didn't expect this move from Todd, Phil, you think?
I'd say he definitely didn't expect it. It looked like Todd was just following Busher to draft off him. Here's going to be another good view right here. You see you move down, then Todd moves down, and unfortunately, Nelson already had his nose up there. Nelson had no idea that Todd was coming down.
And the spotters are up here where we are, and we have
almost wiped out the front of the field.
Here's Newberry. He gets into the 13, into the wall he goes.
He got loose on the inside. There comes the 99 of Brian Silas.
Bam, up in the air when he hits that outside wall.
All 4 tires up off the racetrack when Todd made contact.
Watch slow motion here. Great camera angle, guys. Watch this thing fling into that outside wall.
And that was a hard hit by the 99 of Brian Silas, but all 4 tires up off the racetrack. Brendan Newberry, right side of his screen, already into the outside wall.
Brendan just lost that truck underneath the 13, got into it. We've seen that before earlier in this race.
Wow.
Big contact and then the hard hit into the wall once again.
Most of the stuff that he had to take that hard hit from when he hit with the left front, Brian Silas had already tore a lot of it off. So that's a real tough blow when you hit the wall with a damaged truck.
With all the safety workers out on the track cleaning up the debris. Now
Just he comes through here.
There's Reddick high in turn 4, loose. Just about has his truck saved, and along comes Terrio. Look at that right front tire.
Yeah, really nothing Austin could do.
At all.
Tyler Reddick, he was just fighting to regain control of his truck.
I don't know. We didn't see if anything maybe clipped Reddick and sent him sliding sideways. We just caught it as he was up there fighting for control of that truck. Saw him doing an amazing job hanging on to it. See Jennings down on the bottom.
He went up way high. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of people run up that high. You see the dirt. Here comes Austin just trying to get by on the inside. Again, Reddick's just trying to regain control after being sideways up against the outside wall.
And with the problems that the 63 truck was having, it's so scary.
It's such a sick feeling for Tyler watching his teammate.
Turn 2. Watch how close this is. Right there, John Hunter gets loose. Hits Townley.
Yeah, they actually squeezed him. Christopher Bell in the 4 in the 0-5 squeezed John Hunter.
Johnny Sauter took advantage of it by getting down underneath him, but then John Hunter just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, got loose and hit the... Look how close it was to Townley having his straightened out, but there was nowhere for Kligerman to go. What a hard hit that was.
If Parker hadn't come along there, John West would have been able to straighten that truck out, but what a tough break for both John West and Parker Kligerman. Remember, 3 top 10 finishes to start the season for that 92 truck of Parker Kligerman.
The corner was a handful. That the truck just getting in the corner, it got loose, and that's exactly what happened. Getting in the corner, the truck got loose, and look at the impact with the left front, and the rear comes around and smacks the wall, and then all those sparks flying around and all that contact, and the truck had just pitted just a few laps ago, so the fuel tank was full. It spilled some out, and that's what caused the fire with all those sparks. And we see, watch this. Oh, man. Heavy.
It'll be Kurt's first DNF of his career in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. His prior worst finish was back at Martinsville when he came in at 23rd. He's had a second-place run 3 times at Daytona, Mesa Marin, and Pikes Peak. And now let's take a look at it in real time.
Down the backstretch, trying to follow Tolsma. Watch when he goes in the corner and gets it loose. Just like he said he had a problem with. And around he goes, and bam. And what happened, he knocked the fuel pump off the truck. On the Ford, the fuel pump is on the left side. When he knocked the fuel pump off, that spills.
Truck on the inside line.
Wow, maybe he let off maybe he made an evasive action there because of PK Jr.
Wow,
what the violence.
What an impact.
How violent that was.
That truck weighs 3,700 pounds, and it flies up in the air like that and catches on fire. You can see right there.
You could see PK get a little bit sideways. That's real-time speed right there.
But I don't know if those trucks make high. I know PK got sideways, and then all of a sudden Pluto gets sideways, and these trucks handle well enough. It's hard to understand how this could have happened.
Watch how close now Pluto gets to PK.
I think he just made I think the leader just got loose, and Pluto just made an evasive, a bit of a quick move, and he lost his truck maybe.
I think there was contact. Let's see.
Riding along with Ron Hornaday now.
Watch the leader get sideways.
You're right. I don't think there was any contact from front or behind.
And I think Miguel just said, oh, no, where's he going? And you remember earlier when Paulie Haraka, right there off turn 4, where the track flattens out, you're going very fast there. The banking goes away, and the trucks are light there. The back end is light. He makes a move because he sees his teammate a little bit sideways, and into the inside wall he goes.
Right front. He actually had to go up high to avoid one of the IWX trucks. And when he did, he got up in a loose stuff there, lost control of that thing, and came down and caught right in the right rear corner.
Is that Quaffle that was? Ooh, man, that was a hit. That's a hard lick.
I couldn't tell if that was Travis or if that was Jack Sprague in the other IWX.
I couldn't either, but man, I almost got him too.
Take another look at this.
See who that is down on the bottom there, Phil.
I think that was Sprague right there. That's Travis.
Yeah, it almost got him too.
And folks, just to get a perspective on this, when they're coming down that straightaway, even though there was damage and there was parts flying, Brendan Gaughan's truck probably hit at least at 100 miles an hour by Brian Refner.
Look outside. No, he's not anywhere down near the apron. It gets a little bit loose there. But I'll tell you what, it dropped down. Yeah, the left front dropped down. You can see sparks coming out from under the left front before anything really happened.
All right, let's take another look. Watch the left front.
Right there. Something definitely broke on that truck.
Gilliland in the 4.
See him kind of bouncing up the track, and then that push from Gilliland was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
And Gilliland had nowhere to go either. He had someone on his back bumper, and boy, that's a
man, that's a frightening feeling seeing that wall coming at that speed. Believe me, I know. I've hit a few of them.
Thank goodness for the safer barrier. Obviously, you see how much damage there is to that truck. Could have been a whole lot worse.